Okay, so good day, guys. Today I will be doing a video lecture on the rest of the motivational theories, no, to which we actually started discussing. No, if you recall, perhaps we do a bit of uh, remembering of those we already covered during the synchronous classes so that we could use this as our baselining, for this lecture. So just to give you a bit of uh, recall, we look into what motivation is. No, we have actually included in our discussions the major theories on motivation, and we included or included in these theories are those that you could see on screen. Okay, so we actually have what we call content and process theories, no, on motivation. Okay, so if again we go back into what motivation is, just to underscore, we mean we actually um, um, point and to, no, that particular force, no, that is uh, within us or that is operating outside us, no. So we actually refer to the external and the internal forces, no, that um, act, no, upon us whenever we are into a certain situation which require a particular behavior, no. So what sustains us, what energizes us, what drives us to do and act, to manifest a particular behavior whenever we are into a certain situation, um, is somewhat related to the concept of motivation. Okay, so I will not dwell much on this because we already have discussed this during our synchronous classes. In fact, what I intend to cover in this particular um, video lecture is on the other motivational theories, which would include the job characteristics model, the four drive theory, the organizational justice theory, the Mars model, and also the FFM model, no, by Costa and McRae. Okay, so this would be the coverage of this video lecture apart from the different leadership theories, which we will be also covering in this particular discourse. Okay, so we begin with the job characteristics theory model of Hackman and Oldham. Okay, from the term itself, we look into the characteristic of the very job that we actually um, that we are into. Okay, so it says here that employees desire jobs that are meaningful, those which provide them with opportunity to be accountable or to be personally responsible for whatever outcome or output that they have, and those that also would provide them with feedbacks, no, of the results of their efforts, no. So um, if I would be asking you, I'm sure this would also be the same motivators that you are looking into in a job. So whenever we are into a particular profession, a job for that matter, we don't only look into one that pays as much, but also into one that gives us the kind of fulfillment or satisfaction. No, and that means that we find relevance, no, in our workplaces, di ba? Yung tipong kapag tayo ay nagkakaroon tayo ng silbi sa ating mga organisasyon, no? And syempre, in relation to these concepts would be the concept of being responsible, being accountable to our output, no? That sense of ownership we have whenever we accomplish something into our workplaces, no? So jobs will have motivation potential if they allow employees to use a variety of skills and to connect their efforts to an outcome which has meaning or is useful or is appreciated by coworkers as well as by others in the society, no? So, is it not that we have a good feeling whenever we accomplish something in our workplaces, no? So, I know that in your organizations, you have targets that are um, being accounted for you, no? So, in our IPCR, for example, or in our annual plans, no? Um, kumbaga, naibigay sa kung sinong tao ang responsible doon sa pag-concretize ng plans o di kaya ng targets na yon, no? So we do that in SUCs, for instance, no? Depending on your rank or your plantilla, you are given a particular target. If you are in the academe, like in SUCs, for example, you have a target along instruction, along research, extension, and even production. Okay. So depending on the type of the organization and on what targets are expected for that organization to accomplish, no, what I just mean herein is that there are people that are in charge of a specific target. And you see, there is motivation when you are able to concretize that target based on your effort and that you're given a wide latitude of discretion on how you do your job. Okay. You are free to actually enhance or refine your skill, no, um, in your process of accomplishing the targets that are expected of you to um, achieve, no, and especially so when you are also appreciated, when sabi nga nila, di ba, we give due recognition to Caesar, no? Or we give due recognition unto whom recognition is appropriate, no? So, if, for instance, you were the one, you played a vital role in the accomplishment of the target, no? While it's true that most often those our immediate supervisors are mostly the ones being recognized, no, but in our unit, of course, our supervisor knows, no, that the targets would not have been accomplished without your effort. And I think it is just but proper that the immediate supervisor, knowing that it's you who worked out for this accomplishment, no, must give um, due appreciation to your effort. No? I don't know if you experienced some instances to which you were not recognized of your work. Others actually profited, no, to your output. No? So, kung titingnan natin yung equity theory, kung babalikan natin, di ba? Yun ay isa sa mga rason kung bakit nade-demoralize, nade-demotivate ang isang empleyado, no? Ang isang subordinate, lalo na. No? So, in here, the model is based on the idea that motivation is maintained, no, by simply looking into the nature of the job itself. Okay, so um, uh, therefore, no, as subordinate as supervisors or even middle managers, or should you be working in the human resource offices, no, um, how would you uh, structure the ang tawag dito? assignments or tasks, no, in a manner to which it is given to the person uh, based on the person's qualification. So ito yung dito na papasok yung merit system na sinasabi natin. Kaya natin binibigay yung plantilla dahil deserve ng tao yung posisyon dahil base sa qualification standards na sinet natin para dun sa posisyon na yon, yung taong nakakuha ng plantilla ay talagang qualified. No? So issues like when, for example, politics come in recruitment, when the person being given the task is not really the person who is able to do the task, no? Because siguro by accommodation lang kaya nang ibigay sa kanya yung task, no? By popularity, by connection, no? So I don't know, but I have this I was able to I encountered this graduation speech, no? In fact, I even shared it on my social media, no? To which the the speaker, no, the commencement speaker mentioned that you see the painful reality in the country is that connection is valued uh, more than um, the skill or the ability of the person. So in a job, for example, usually what is considered is the connection of the applicant rather than the qualification of the applicant. And so my personal point of view herein is that kung ganon, di kailangan palang i-update na rin yung mga qualification standards. Baka isama na rin yung social connection doon sa criteria. Pero syempre, hindi naman yun objective criterion kung sakali, di ba? Unless gawan nila ng rubrics, no? Katulad nung mga nakaset doon sa qualification standards in terms of education, in terms of training, in terms of eligibility, no? So, the thing here is that really there is satisfaction, there is motivation on the part of employees if what is given to you in terms of assignment or task are those that are commensurate to your qualification, to your skills, no, to your interest even, no? So, just think about what would be the implication of this if you're given the job only because of accommodation or connection and not taking into consideration your qualification. So these are some sort of issues, no, that are part of the realities of today's workforce, no. And at times we just shrug our shoulders, no, nakikibit-balikat tayo kung minsan hindi natin na binibigyan ng pansin dahil hindi naman siguro tayo ang concern. Pero you see, these are instances to which it could bring about the motivation to employees. No? So it says here that the jobs must be redesigned, no, in such a manner that workers with greater responsibility, no, particularly those who are occupying the higher seats, no, those in charge of planning, of execution, and of evaluation must actually because these are greater responsibilities, no? And hence, much is really expected if you are into this kind of jobs. So you try to ask yourselves, should you be into that particular managerial functions? No? Do you really deserve, I mean, in terms of your capability, your skills, and so on and so forth, no? So, dito pala sa um, job characteristics model, there are 5 job characteristics that really lead to job enrichment, no? And what are these, no? We have skill variety, task identity, task significance, task autonomy, and feedback, no? So these factors, no, or job characteristics, no, are linked with 3 psychological states that improve an employee's motivation in the workplace. So we look into, I don't know if the uh, next slide would lead us to, okay. So these are the core job characteristics. No? What about skill variety? Remember that in any job for that matter, no, an employee would possess a variety of skills. No? Sabi nga nila, there can be many ways on how to dress a chicken. And so whenever we are given particular task, no, it's up upon our creativity, our resourcefulness, and our um, being skilled, no? On how we do the task at hand, no? So employees are motivated if they are given the discretion on how to do the task, no? For as long as it will yield to the same output that is expected by the organization. Okay? The degree to which a job requires completion of a whole or identifiable piece of work, this would refer to task identity. No? So, kumbaga, parang meron tayong mga distinct jobs and tasks. No? And whenever we accomplish that, of course, that would always be in relation to the position we are occupying, no? So that when we, for example, compare a classroom teacher to that of a researcher or to that of an extensionist, no, there would be um, a unique task identity, no, and whenever we are able to accomplish, no, that task in relation to our jobs, no, that would yield to motivation. Okay? And all the more if the task that we do carries with it sort of relevance or significance on the organization or on the larger society. No? So, yung tipong, ang ginagawa ko ay um, tawag dito, vital, very vital para sa organization. Tipong ah, hindi hindi magiging best yung unit nyo kung wala ka, parang gano'n, no? So, lahat naman tayo, no, does or would do relevant um, task, no? Kasi babalikan at babalikan ninyo yung position description form nyo kung nasa government kayo, no? Or kung nasa private setting kayo, meron kayong contract. Ano yung stipulation ng contract? No? Kung ang ginagawa nyo ay nakaangkla doon sa kontratang pinirmahan nyo, ang ibig sabihin nun ay relevant o significant ang task na ginagawa ninyo. Okay? Another is autonomy. When we are being provided with freedom, with independence, with discretion on uh, when we do the task, no? And on um, determining on how to do the task, no? Or how to complete the task, no? That's a sort of autonomy. So, kumbaga, there is no external restriction, no? There would be no inhibitions on your part on how you would do your task because you have that freedom, you have that control over your job. Feedback. When you are given also feedbacks on how you're doing your task or your job, no? 'Di ba? Kung halimbawa ikaw ay teacher, yung teacher evaluation, no? Kapag ikaw ay sinasabihan na, oh, you're doing great on teaching, no? You're doing great as a middle manager, as a boss, no? So feedbacks actually occupy also a vital part, no, when it comes to motivation because it actually directs you on whether or not what you're doing is or on whether or not you're doing good or you're doing well with your task. Okay? Then, okay. So we also have another motivational theory. This is the four drive theory by Paul Lawrence and Nitin Noria. So from the term itself, there are literally four innate and universal drives, no, that could bring about motivation. no? And what are these? No, we have the drive to acquire, drive to bond, drive to comprehend or learn, and the drive to defend. No? Acquire, bond, learn, and defend. No? So what about the drive to acquire? No? So there is a desire to obtain resources, no, such as material, goods, status, and even power. No, the the need to seek out, to take, to control, and to retain objects and even personal experiences. No? So, nagtatrabaho tayo para saan? No? Para meron tayong mahita. No? Um, physically, no? Or economically, we are being remunerated. Meron tayong compensation pag tayo nagtrabaho, no? Kapag ba may compensation ka, meron din bang ah, chance for you to acquire material possessions? Yes, no? And when you do your work well, no, you gain status, no, and even power, especially if you are occupying the top in the hierarchy, di ba? So, along the process, we also acquire significant personal, if not professional, experiences based on our um, jobs. Okay? We also have the drive to bond, the need to form social connections and relationships with others. No? So, kung titingnan natin yung um, hierarchy of needs ni Maslow, no? The need to affiliate, social belongingness, no? So the need to belong, the need to affiliate, these are motivations or these are drives actually, no? So uh, for example, when we do our job, because when we keep, no, our job, I mean, we stay with our job because we feel that our colleagues, no, are treating us like a family. No? Um, um, we, for example, stick with our job because of this reason. No? So that's the drive to bond. No? Um, there are those who are designated to a specific unit, though it may not be aligned to their specialization, but perhaps because they wanted to innovate, they wanted to have new experiences, and because most probably they wanted to know more about their colleagues, to bond with their colleagues, to affiliate with their colleagues, no? They accept the designation. So this primarily is because of their desire to bond. And we also have the drive to comprehend or learn. There is an urge to satisfy curiosity, to seek meaning and mastery. No? For example, in your cases, there are some of you who are not psychology majors, but because of your thirst for learning, because you wanted to know, you wanted to discover about psychology, no? Here you are enrolled in master's in psychology, no? So all of us, I think, has this desire, no? The drive to defend, to protect ourselves physically, psychologically, and socially. Now, this is more of an instinct. Remember, Thanatos by Freud, no? Okay, so the instinct to protect ourselves, our resources, to ensure safety. No? Remember also Abraham Maslow's safety needs, no? And even stability, no? Security, safety and security, no? So that's why whenever we are into our respective workplaces, is it not that this is also one of the things we consider, no? um, may mga colleagues tayo na nagsasabi na after their class or after their um, schedule of working, no, uh, some of them would say let's go home. No, we are we are not indispensable. No, at times it's not really all about our work that defines um, success and fulfillment. No? So there is also a need for us to rest because you see, this is our way of ensuring that we are we are not only protecting ourselves physically, no? But even psychologically. No? So um, uso na ngayon yung tinatawag na uh, work work ano yun, workplace balance, no? Work balance, no? Ano ang tawag dito? Um, Kapag tapos na ang trabaho mo, tapos na yung klase mo, kailangan umuwi ka, kailangan mag-rest ka, no? Kasi ito yung pagkakataon na you also replenish your um, strength, you replenish, no, your body with the energy that it needs, no? So that the following day you would also have the same level of motivation and enthusiasm to face another bulk of work. Okay, so the drive to protect ourselves or to defend ourselves. Then we also have what we call organizational justice theory, no? um, if employees are treated fairly in relation to equity theory, they will always be satisfied and motivated. No? So where there is the concept of fairness, of equity, of non-discrimination, of organizational justice, as we call it, no? There would always be satisfaction and motivation on the part of the employees. Okay, so it says here that fairness, no, must be in all aspects, no. So when it comes to the process of decision making, are you involved? Are you engaged? No. When it comes to even outcomes of our decisions, are your voices being considered? No, and as to how this is communicated to the employees. In the first place, is it feedback to you or not? So there is what we call distributive, procedural, and interactional justice. So when we talk about distributive justice, no, this is when employees feel that they are treated fairly in terms of resource distribution. Okay? So when it comes to, for example, opportunities for promotions, for increase in pay, for recognition, no? Um, are disproportional to all employees, meaning to say all employees are being considered. Hindi yung mga malalapit lang sa paanan ng Diyos. Hindi yung mga sipsip lang. Hindi yung mga um, kakilala lang, hindi yung mga pasikat lang at pabibo lang, no? So ibig sabihin lahat ay nabibigyan ng pagkakataon na mapansin, lahat ay nabibigyan ng pagkakataon na pwedeng umangat, no? Pwedeng ma-promote, no? Okay. So that's distributive justice. Procedural justice, on the other hand, is the fairness of procedures, no? So kung merong polisiya, no, lahat ay applicable, ito ay applicable sa lahat. O katulad ng nangyayari sa Senado, halimbawa, no, kung ang pulisiya ay kailangang imbestigahan dahil halimbawa ay nabanggit ang pangalan at merong sapat na ebidensya na dapat ay maimbestigahan, no? Ah, at kung yung sinasabi natin na procedure, no? So that the procedure also applies to everyone, no? So if there is an opportunity to be heard because that's part of the procedure, then everyone must be given the opportunity to be heard. For example, if there are complaints in the organization and the procedure of the organization is that you are given the chance to defend yourself, because definitely this would always be part of the procedure, no? So yung procedural justice na sinasabi natin. Then, you must be given the chance to um, defend yourself. And even upon um, knowing that you are guilty, and that you are deserving of a particular uh, sabihin na lang natin punishment, no? Um, are you also given the chance to appeal? Kasi meron tayong kahit nga sa korte, di ba? You are not outrightly served you don't actually outrightly um, serve the sentence, for example, or the consequence of the decision, but you are given the chance to appeal, no? So, if this is part of the procedure, then everyone is given the chance, no? Hindi pwedeng kay Pedro lang may apply dahil siya lang yung malapit sa paanan ng Diyos. Hindi po ganun. There is neutrality. There is transparency. There is consistency. So that when one is reprimanded for example, being tardy and being a consistent absentee, no? Because you see, in government, no, our attendance, no, matter, no, uh, in work, for example, no, because we are always accountable. our our positions, no, we occupy, we are called uh, government servants, no, and so um, your work really matters, no, in the organization, no, and hence your attendance is being monitored by the human resource department. And so if you are consistently tardy and absentee, no, there are always there would be corresponding reprimands, no? And so if this would form part of the policy of the organization, no, since by virtue of memorandum circulars in CSC or some issuances, no, kailangan consistently implemented ito. Hindi pwedeng ah, applicable lang kay Pedro, no, at hindi kay Juan, no? Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na leave administration policies. Okay? So, in interactional justice, the perceived fairness of interpersonal treatment during the implementation of the procedures. No? So, this would include according everyone with respect, with dignity, no? With the chance to adequately defend or explain themselves whenever there are complaints filed against them. Okay? So this would be interactional justice. Okay? Then we also have the Mars model. What about the Mars model? Okay, describes individual behavior and performance as a result of four interacting factors, the acronym MARS: motivation, ability, role perception, and situational factors. No, so in here, these interacting factors would um, be influencing the level of motivation and eventually the performance of the employees. No? So we have motivation. It's the internal drive that determines the direction, intensity, and persistence of the behavior. No? So, well, we differ in terms of individual characteristics, like why is it that we differ in terms of levels of motivation? Because in terms of values or those that we prioritize, we also have differences. Magkakaiba tayo. Meron yung iba, ang priority nila ay mga external rewards. For example, yung nape-praise sila, yung nakakakuha sila ng promotion, yung naa-awardan sila. Meron naman yung ang source ng motivation ay intrinsic, no? Okay na sa kanila na they were able to carry out their responsibilities or their jobs efficiently, no, and effectively. Okay? Okay na sa kanila na kahit hindi sila ma-praise, basta ang alam nila ay nagawa nila ng maayos ang kanilang mga trabaho. Merong mga ganong klase ng tao. Magkakaiba tayo ng personality, ng perceptions, at even ng emotions at ng attitudes. And even on how we perceive stress, no? So, therefore, these are also contributory on these factors. Okay? Ability includes both innate talents and even those that we acquire from the environment through learning. Okay? So, magkakaiba din tayo niyan in terms of ability. Meron yung ability nila ay kung paano sumipsip, no? Hindi kung paano nila gawin ng maayos ang kanilang mga trabaho, no? Bakit? Kasi learned skill yan eh, social skill. Nakita ko na ang trend pala sa organization ay hindi pagalingan, kundi hindi pagalingan magtrabaho at mag-render ng output, kundi yung pagalingang sumipsip. Oh. So, dahil yun ang kanyang learning, yun ang kanyang ginagawa, effective ba? O malamang highly motivated siya kasi siya yung napopromote, siya yung na-acknowledge, no? Role perceptions, how you see your jobs or your roles, no? Is it are these satisfying? Do you find fulfillment on your job, on your role? How do you perceive your role? And situational factors, no? Um, the external influences or conditions, no? So, do you feel safe in your workplace? Are you well provided in terms of resources, in terms of the equipment that you need to carry out your task? For example, if you're teaching, isa sa mga facility na kailangan mo syempre ay yung DLP. Meron ka man lang projector, meron man lang mahiram na or meron ka man lang educational technology na sinasabi natin, may TV, merong DLP, maliban sa blackboard, maliban sa chalk, whiteboard man lang or whiteboard marker, no? So these are some resources, facilities that actually are external in nature that influences your motivation. Paano na lang kung magturo ka, wala pang ang classroom. Imbes na problemahin mo lang kung paano mo i-deliver yung ituturo mo, poproblemahin mo pa kung saan ka magkaklase dahil walang classroom. So, nakakamotivate ang mga ganitong eksena. Okay? There is optimal performance if all the four factors are adequately present. No? So just imagine if these are not present, no? Or if present but minimal. No? So ibig sabihin meron din siyang impact sa level ng motivation. Okay. Now, binabanggit natin kanina yung personality as an individual characteristic that may affect motivation. So the very concrete or the very detailed uh, personality uh, personality theory that could link or that linked um, personality attributes to that of motivation is the theory of Costa and McRae five-factor model. No? Ito yung big five personality na sinasabi nila sa inyong theories of personality. No? So, ito yung ocean or NEOAC. Ano yung ocean? Openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Or, so, ano ang sinasabi ng FFM or Big Five theory model on the association between motivation and personality, no? So it says here that um, um, personality attributes is linked to motivation. Okay, personality traits strongly influence what drives people at work or how people pursue their goals, or even how we sustain our effort, no? So for people, for individuals with high openness, no? For example, they are curious, they are creative, uh, they prefer the novelty, no? So mga uh, mga iba't iba at makabagong experiences, no? So um, these are taken into considerations on how they do their job, no? On, or even on what motivates them. So that if they are into routinary jobs, hindi mo sila maaasahan na mag-stick. Bakit? Kasi they are high in terms of openness, no? Consensusness, if you are high in consensusness, um, characteristics like discipline, organized, and goal-directed, no? So, um, if you are in a or in an organization na medyo ah, magulo, no? Meron bang mga ganong organizations? Siguro in terms of when expectations are not clear, instructions are not clear, no? Because you are high in conscientiousness, tendencies are there would be low motivation, no? So, those who are socially inclined, no, are those who we consider as high in extraversion. Basically, if the job is one that is solitary, one that um, requires less socialization or interaction, those with high extraversion would not thrive in such an organization. Okay? So, and so on and so forth. No? So, andito pala, no? Kung saan sila mas namomotivate, kung anong klaseng organization sila mas namomotivate. Okay? So, we move on to another construct, that's leadership. Okay? And you see, in any organization for that matter, one of the indicators uh, as to which or as to why organizations thrive and succeed, no? And would perform beyond their metrics, no? Is because of the kind of leaders that they. Okay? So we start with this quote: the true value of a leader is not measured by the work they do. A leader's true value is measured by the work they inspire others to do. So it depends upon what particular perspective you're coming from or framework you're coming from, because there's a lot of leadership theories. And this is what we will be discussing in the subsequent slides. Okay? So first, we have to understand what it meant by leadership. This is not a new concept to all of us. In fact, we could even have our own definition of what leadership is. No? But if we look into the construct and we technically define it, no? Leadership means influencing, motivating, and enabling others to contribute toward the effectiveness and success of the organizations of which they are members. That's why you might have noticed that there is an interrelation of what we are discussing here. We have discussed about motivation, and now we discuss about leadership. And even in the past meetings, we have discussed about organizational effectiveness, organizational climate. No? Kaya merong interrelationship yung mga constructs na dinidiscuss natin. Okay. Now, irrespective of what construct is um, being highlighted, no? Um, what we consider in IO psychology is on how this would impact um, the organization. Okay? So, when we talk about leadership, one also of the things that we bring in, no, would be the process of social influence, because leaders for that matter, would always have a degree of influence to their followers. Managers to that of their subordinates, or supervisors to that of their subordinates. No? So it is a social influence process where there is guiding and motivating, uh, where there is assisting towards the um, achievement of a shared goal, and usually through the process of persuasion and other influential tactics or strategies. Okay, so we have we have these theories. No, we actually have the traditional theories and the contemporary theories, no? And when we talk about the traditional theories, we have the trait theory as one of these theories or group of theories, no? So from the term itself, trait, no? Trait and style approaches actually, no? If we look into the trait theory of leadership, what it underscores is that yung concept natin o yung pananaw natin na leaders are born, no? Leaders are born, no? They are believed to be born with inherent characteristics, no? Or with dispositions, innate dispositions or traits which make them um effective, or which differs them from all other employees in the organization. So leadership, according to this view, is not learned, but instead it's a natural endowment. No? So it is something that is innate, already present at birth. Kaya nga siya, leaders are born. No? So there are a lot of literatures that actually would compile what traits do leaders possess. And what is common among these literatures would be the following traits: intelligence, problem solving, confidence, charisma, social skills, integrity and honesty, no? Physical energy and appearance, no? And there had been also addendum to this a long list of traits, no? In fact, in the 20th century, no, characteristics like assertiveness, confidence, and usually gender, merong gender bias, no? Usually ang mga leaders noon ay parang ang mga kalalakihan lang ang pino-point out, no? Bakit? Kasi meron silang certain level of assertiveness or command, no? Which might not be possessed by women. Ganun ba yun? No? Siguro kung titingnan natin ang history, hindi ba merong diskriminasyon, no? Merong ngayon lang naman parang nagiging open tayo sa mga women empowerment, no? Because of the laws, no, on gender and development, or gender equality, no. So this trait and style approach would point unto what we call leader behaviors. Okay, so um, um, we look into the other propositions of this particular leadership theory, no? So ayan, nandyan nakita ninyo yung um, historical timeline ng leadership theories at yung pinaniniwalaan nilang mga katangian ng isang leader. Okay? So we move on to another theory. We have the behavioral theories, no? So still under trait and style approaches. Dito, instead of asking who is the leader or who is a leader, no? The behavioral theories would ask, what do leaders actually do? So from trait to behavior. Okay? Uh, the one of the tenets of the behavioral theory is that leadership can be learned by adapting certain behaviors, because behaviors can be a product of learning, right? So, under this, we have the Ohio State Leadership Studies, to which researchers from the Ohio State University, is or underscored two independent dimensions of leader behavior. And this would be the people-oriented and the task-oriented leaders. No? When we say people-oriented leaders, these are those who have built trust, have shown concern for their employees, or those who value relationships, no? So a concrete example of this would be a supervisor who checks in on a worker's well-being and encourages collaboration. Do you see your boss or your immediate supervisor as having this behavior? Ginagawa ba yan? Yung once in a while, hindi lang siya nakaupo dun sa pagkaganda-gandang lamesa niya. Bagkus ay nagro-roam around siya, pinupuntahan kayo sa inyong mga work stations at nagtatanong siya, kamusta naman kayo? Ano ba ang mga problema nyo dito? Anong mga kailangan nyo? No? O nakikichika din siya sa inyo, hindi yung parang siya ay Diyos na you revere or pinagsisilbihan nyo. Kung minsan, siya rin yung nagsisilbi sa inyo, di ba? So, these are people-oriented leaders. Meron naman yung task-oriented lang, no? They define roles, they set clear goals, they monitor performance, no? So, these are those who are inclined of what? Um, their priority is more of the output that you deliver. So, kapag may time frame, halimbawa, kung may deadlines, no? Sila yung pinupuntahan kayo, hindi para tanungin kung kamusta kayo, kundi para tanungin kung tapos nyo na ba? Di ba? Okay. So, but you see, there are also advantages of being task-oriented, no? Especially kung output-oriented yung organization nyo. Pero there must be a balance between these two dimensions, no? It's not also healthy if what we have is only a task-oriented leader, no? What we also would want is a people-oriented leader. Okay? So leaders can be high or low on both, no? So styles could vary. But the ideal is when there is a balance between these two dimensions. Now we also have the University of Michigan Studies, okay, to which they found two major leadership styles. So ito ay employee-centered at production-centered, no? So kumbaga parang parehas lang din doon sa people-oriented at task-oriented, no? Parang it's a matter of lexicon lang. May iba lang silang tawag, pero ganun pa rin yon. Pag sinabing employee-centered, they focus on employee needs, participation, and motivation. Pag production-centered, they emphasize efficiency, rules, and task completion. So this is still is a um, under the jurisdiction of task-oriented leader. Okay? So, although herein sa Michigan studies, ang ine-emphasize ay yung employee-centered leaders, no? Because based on these studies, it is this type of leaders that yield to higher morale and productivity. No? So you try to assess your leaders. No? Are they employee-centered? Are they production-centered? Okay. And which of these two do you prefer? Or do you also prefer that your leaders are employee-centered? May pakialam sila sa inyo, hindi lang yung sa output na kaya ninyong i-deliver. Okay? So, anyway, we look into the rest of the slides. We also have the, okay, managerial grid by Blake and Newton. No? So they expanded on the earlier studies into a grid model with two axes. The axis, ano ba yun? X ba yung tayo? No? Is more of the people, concern for people. Meron tayong tinatawag na concern for people and concern for production. Okay? In this particular axis or grid, there are five styles or leadership styles that could emerge. We have the impoverished, which is low low concern for people and low concern for production or for task, no? So this is the disengaged or ineffective leader, no? On the other hand, we have the most ideal, which is the team leadership. So kasalungat naman nung kanina, yung impoverished. They have high concern for people and high concern for tasks. No? So this is the most ideal because it yields to high performance and morale. Okay? Yung iba, country club, high concern for people, pero low concern for tasks. Hindi ka naman productive pag ganun. Friendly ka nga, pero hindi ka naman productive. Meron tayo nung task or authority compliance, low concern for people, high concern for task. Very productive ka nga, pero harsh ka naman, hindi ka naman makatako. Okay? Middle of the road. So, pwede din itong pwede din itong framework na to, pero there can be compromises. There can be compromises. Okay? Okay? Then, we proceed. We also have other theories. No? What are the other theories that we have here in? Medyo naglalag ang ating, okay. We also have the contingency and the situational theories of leadership. Okay? Kanina, binabanggit natin yung katangian at yung kung ano ang ginagawa ng leaders. Ngayon, tingnan naman natin yung konteksto, no? Or yung environment, no? Because the contingency and situational. So we have the contingency and situational theories of leadership. And it says here that there is no single best style of leadership. No? What matters here is parang it depends on the situation. So leadership effectiveness depends on the interaction between the leader behavior, the characteristics of the follower, and the situation or the environment. So yung hashtag nila ay it depends. Kung kanina yung hashtag nila ay uh, leaders are born, or that leadership can be learned, no? Ito naman ang hashtag nila ay the style of leadership depends on the context, no? It depends on the characteristic of the followers and it also depends on the situation. Okay? So, we have the following contingency theories. We have that of Fiedler. Okay? This is developed by Fred Fiedler. And according to him, a leader's effectiveness is determined by the match between their leadership style and the favorableness of the situation. No? So meron tayo nung tinatawag na relationship-oriented leader and task-oriented leader. Okay? The leadership style is measured by what we call the least preferred coworker style. No? So, you could see on the figure, no, that if there is high LPC, the leadership style or the kind of leader is one who is relationship oriented. While if the LPC is low, the leadership style is more of a task-oriented. I'm sure you know what it meant by relationship-oriented. Parang concern for people, concern for relationships, concern for employee ito. Pag task-oriented, more on the output, more on the task. No? So, relationship-oriented leaders are great at building relationships, teams synergy, group dynamics, no? Managing interpersonal conflicts. On the other hand, if the leader is task-oriented, they are good or skilled at organizing projects and teams to accomplish efficiently and effectively. Okay? So the example given here is that one who is low in LPC or a task-oriented leader is more effective in highly favorable. That would mean everything that is structured, no? With high authority, with high or strong power, as compared to a highly unfavorable situation, no? Bakit? Kasi you could not depend on your subordinates if you have weak power. No? Hindi mo sila may influence na gawin yung gusto mo. Especially if unstructured or chaotic. Bakit ako makikinig sa'yo ah, base sa structure naman. Or hindi naman ikaw ang dapat kong pakinggan kasi hindi ikaw ang boss ko. May mga ganun kasing klase ng prinsipyo in the workplace, no? Now, we also have the goal theory of Robert House. No? It posits that a leader's role is to motivate subordinates by increasing their rewards for goal achievement and removing obstacles from their path to success. The theory suggests leaders should adapt their behavior using one of four styles to complement follower needs and task characteristics. And the four leader behaviors are directive, supportive, participative, and achievement-oriented. No? Ano ba yung directive? They set clear rules, they guide. Supportive, there is a concern for employees or subordinates' well-being. Participative, they involve employees in decisions. And achievement-oriented, they set challenging goals. Okay? So all of these are, of course, essential, no, for the organization or for the leaders, especially, no, um, to carry out the goals of the organization. Okay? And um, sabi dito, in a structured job, a supportive leader boosts morale. In a complex job, a directive leader helps clarify expectations. So it depends on the the organizational context, no? So um, of course, if the organization seemingly requires that there must be a good interpersonal relationship for lalong-lalo na sa mga collaborative sa mga units na kailangan ng collaboration, no? Yung tipong hindi ka makakagawa ng output kung hindi lahat mag-function. Dapat supportive ang klase ng or participative din ang klase ng leadership behavior. Okay? Then we also have the decision-making model by Vroom, Yeton, and Jago. So ito ay tatlong mga although this is premise on the works of Victor Vroom and Philip Yeton. So this is also known as the Vroom-Yeton model, only that it was enhanced later by Vroom and Jago, kaya naging Vroom, Yeton, and Jago decision-making model. So ano ang tinutukoy nitong model? It provides a structured approach for leaders to determine the appropriate level of follower participation in the decision-making process. Okay? So it considers various situational factors and guide leaders in choosing the most suitable decision-making style from five different styles. And what are these styles? No? You have the autocratic one, or in terms of decision-making style, no? The leader makes the decision alone. Kaya siya autocratic without seeking input from followers. Gusto nyo ba ng ganitong klaseng leader? Depende kung ang sitwasyon ay nangangailangan ng outright decision from the leader na hindi siya mabibigyan ng pagkakataong mag-confer sa mga followers, 'di ba? Kung critical ang isang sitwasyon at nangangailangan ng outright decision, pwede ito, no? Um, Itong autocratic too or consult individually, the leader seeks input from individual followers but makes the final decision alone. So, kumbaga parang magsusolicit lang siya ng suggestion but at the end of the day, it's the leader who makes the decision. So, um, siguro kung talagang ang leader yung accountable. Of course, while I may listen to some of your suggestion, I would still be the one doing the decision because the the task because I am accountable of the task, for example, no? So this can be a sort of decision making style also of the leader. Consultative one, it consults the group, the leader, kumbaga parang democratic ang approach. It involves a group of relevant followers in the decision-making process. No? It presents the problem, the leader presents the problem, seeks the input from the group, and makes the final decision based on the input. No? Ang maganda dyan, meron ding sense of ownership yung mga subordinates mo kasi kumbaga parang kinonsult mo sila, kinonsider mo yung point of view nila in doing the decision. Okay? Then consultative two, facilitate. The leader shares the problem with the group and act as a facilitator, no? Kumbaga parang ano siya, ano ba 'yan? Pangalan nito, ang role lang niya is as a facilitator. He encourages open discussion, facilitates the exchange of ideas, and helps the group reach a decision through consensus. So, siguro dito papasok yung democratic style kasi the decision of the group would prevail over that of the leader. So, um, he does not only consult, but he allows the decision of the consensus of the majority to prevail. Okay, and this is what differs on the consultative one. This is where the line where they differ. Then we also have delegate, no? The leader delegates the decision-making authority to a follower. Ito yung detached siya, no? Kumbaga kapag pasahan ng accountability, hindi naman ako nagdesisyon, kayo naman eh, no? Although maganda din ang nagde-delegate para kumbaga parang ititrain mo yung mga followers mo or ini-empower mo sila to make decisions. Okay? Then we also have the situational leadership theory. We have by Blancard and Hersey. Dito naman merong four styles. Um, Telling, selling, participating, and delegating. No? Somewhat in relation to that of Yeton and that of the Vroom and Yeton model. No? So, meron ulit parang access dito, no? So you have those who are high in terms of task and low in relationship, these are the telling, directing style. No? When followers are inexperienced, okay yan. Dahil, syempre kailangan mag-deliver, kaya the leader would eventually what? Direct, no? The group, no? When followers lack skill but are motivated, no, you could do coaching. When followers are skilled but lack confidence, no, you do supporting. When followers are skilled and are motivated, ito yung pinaka-ideal, you do delegating. So, depende sa sitwasyon. Kung halimbawa, bago yung mga empleyado mo, mga bagong graduate sila, yung nasa unit mo. So, they may need telling. Pero kung seasoned na sila, experienced na sila, what they need is delegating. Okay? Okay. Ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-gasgas, transformational and transactional leadership styles. No? This emanated from the works of Burns. However, it was expounded by Bass. No? Ano yung transactional? Based on external motivators. No? So, rewards, punishment. Transformational, ito yung pinaka-ideal based on vision, inspiration, and personal growth. No? So, this slide would show the different um, components of transformational leadership, no? Yung apat na I, idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, individualized consideration. Okay? Uh, on screen, you could see the description of these components. No? Pag sinabing idealized influence, the leader serve as a role model with high ethical standards. Sana lahat, no? Sana all ay kino-consider ito, no? You can assess the leaders you have in your respective organizations, or at a macro level we can assess our elected officials, no? Do they serve as role models with high ethical standards? Siyempre kayo lang makakasagot niyan. Sa issues na meron tayo ngayon, ah, yung ethics parang very vague na concept na, no? Pagdating sa usaping legal at ethical ba, ay yan ay syempre questionable sa atin, no? Inspirational motivation. Do they articulate a compelling vision? No? Are we moving all on the same direction in the first place because of the kind of leader that we have? Do they inspire us to actually do our work, to always be hopeful and optimistic? Okay. Leader encourages creativity and critical thinking, intellectual stimulation. And do they also provide personalized mentorship o kanya-kanya, walang pakialamanan, no? So, alam nyo kapag nasa rurok na kayo ng tagumpay, kung narating na ninyo ang pinaka-top nung hierarchy, halimbawa sa SOX, ang pinaka-top na position is Professor 6. Dapat kayo ay nagme-mentor na. Lagi ko ang sinasabi, may mga kasama ako sa unit o sa college na nasa ganyang posisyon, no? No, kung tutuusin nga kayo yung nagme-mentor sa aming mga nasa baba, no? So, syempre kasi meron din tayo ng ganong desire, no? As much as possible, gusto din naman natin na natututo sa kanila dahil sino nga ba naman ang hindi? Gusto rin natin marating yung narating nila at syempre, one way of doing that is for us to also learn on their strategy, on their experiences. Kaya maganda din sana na merong mentoring, no? Ang problema, dahil nga siguro nasa taas na sila, kung minsan demotivated na nga sila to work. Kasi bakit pa ako magtatrabaho para saan pa wala na, hindi naman ako mapopromote. May mga ganun silang ano. Pero I would always no like I have one colleague in the college na nasa ganitong sitwasyon, and I would always tell him, um you see, ito yung pwedeng ambag mo sa aming mga ah, young, um, younger breed, no? So, ito yung magiging legacy mo. Parang mga ganun yung ano ko, tirada ko para ma-motivate. Ewan ko, pero may mga nakikitaan kasi ako na didemotivate sila, no? Transactional leadership, no? From the word itself, transaction, no? There is a principle of exchange between the leader and the follower. Exchange of what? Okay? The Leaders set goals, define tasks, and use contingent rewards. No? So external reinforcement. You do this so that you get this. No? Mga ganun. Okay? We have the following components of transactional leadership. We have contingent rewards, active management by exception, and passive management by exception. These are actually the three types of transactional leadership, no? So, anong ibig sabihin ng contingent reward? Leader clarifies expectations and provides rewards when goals are met, no? So, you do this so that you get this reward. Okay? On the other hand, meron tayong active management by exception. Leader monitors performance actively and corrects deviations from standards before problems escalate. Diba? So, meron yung talagang mga may pakialam na kapag meron kang problema, hindi lang tinitingnan ka pag may output ka, kundi pinakikialaman din kapag meron kang mga challenges or problems encountered in doing your job, no? Meron yung mga passive, walang pakialam. Saka lang magto-troubleshoot kapag talagang kailangan, no? So anong gusto nyo dito? Okay? I think ito palang mga ini-explain ko, transformational, transactional, ito ay mga emerging theories or modern theories na, ha? Then we have servant leadership. Okay, very ideal. Now, when we talk about leadership, it says here that there is a paradigm shift in terms of leadership thinking from command and control to service and empowerment. No? Di ba kasi yung transactional, meron pa rin control dun, meron pa rin command kasi you do this so that you get this. Parang ganun eh, no? Pero dito, more of empowerment, more of service, no? So, hindi ko ata natanggal yung ating ay, sorry. Oh my God, saan na ba ako? Bakit iba itong aking ipinapakita? Okay. I don't know what you could see on your screen. Meron ba? Meron ba kayo nakikita sa screen mo? Okay, hindi ko alam kung natanggal ko or what kasi meron akong napindot. Sige, i-share natin ulit. Pero nag-stop share. Stop share muna natin, tapos i-share ko ulit para masiguradong nandun. Okay, sige. Okay, yan. I hope you could see it on your screen. But anyway, um, dito sa servant leadership, yun nga, the emphasis is more on service and empowerment. Okay? Okay. In servant leadership, these are values driven. There are manifestations of um, characteristics which are considered values driven, and this would include listening, empathy, healing, awareness, and persuasion. Okay. Now, all of this would all boil down to this thought that leadership is eventually serving others, enabling others to reach their fullest potential, and strengthening the organization and the community at large. No? You see, when everyone is doing these characteristics, no, there is listening, nakikinig sa ating mga concerns, ah, tapos hindi lang nakikinig, kundi nag-empathize din. Ibig sabihin, meron din ginagawa, no? Kapag ito yung shinare mong needs at concerns mo, no? Um, may pakialam, may awareness, meron ding persuasion, no? Kapag lahat ito ay ginawa, hindi ka lang naging leader, no? This is one of the most ideal uh, leadership style, no? Apart from transformational, no? Bakit? Kasi you are serving at the same time inspiring others. Okay? Ito pa pala, no? Conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to growth, and building community. Okay? Then we also have the LMX theory, leadership membership exchange theory by Grain and colleagues. So this is also known as the vertical dyad linkage theory or the VDL theory. Bakit? Okay? So it challenged the prevailing leadership models of the time, particularly trait, behavioral, and contingency theories. For them, leaders form unique, differentiated relationships with each follower, no? And giving rise to what we call dyadic perspective on leadership. So hindi lang hindi lang yung leader acting towards the follower or the members, but it is a dyadic relationship. It's a two-way relationship, no? Hindi siya one-way relationship. So meaning to say, kapag two-way relationship 'yan, the followers or the members also interact with the leader. There is a relational and social exchange. Okay? So, uh, what is what is zeroed in on LMX is that leadership occurs through the exchange of relationships developed between a leader and each follower. No? So it's not one directional, it's a two-way social exchange. And we have what we call categories of relationships. We have in-group and out-group. No? Pag sinabing in-group, okay, there is a high quality, trust-based, mutual respect. Okay, and the behavior of the leader is that it offers autonomy, so you are independent, di laging kinokontrol, merong support, merong mentorship. And ano yung outcome nito? There is high satisfaction, high commitment, and performance. Kapag out-group naman, there is low quality, transactional ang relationship, formal, so there would be role-defined supervision. Okay? Kung minsan combination ang nangyayari sa organizations natin, di ba? Merong times na in-group, merong times na out-group yung type ng relationship. Depende siguro din sa klase ng, yun nga, kung titingnan natin yung situational leadership or contingency leadership, no? Depende sa mga factors katulad ng membership characteristics at yung situation ng organization. Then, I think this is the last, yeah, the impact theory, no? The impact theory of leadership by Geyer, Doney, and Johnson. It explains how leadership behavior shapes organizational climate and influences follower motivation. So it proposed that the true measure of leadership is the climate created in the minds and hearts of the followers. Okay, it's also known as the organizational climate or the impact theory. Bakit siya impact theory? Meron siyang tinatawag na 6 distinctive impact styles. No? Informational style. So kung yung organization ay syempre um, nangailangan ng, I mean, kung yung leader would use style relying on information, facts, data, no? In order to persuade others, di ba ganun naman? Uh, Kumbaga, if the leader has the credence because he knows a lot, no? About the organization, about the job, about the work, no? Yun yung mga klase ng leaders na we look up to yung meron siyang alam, no? So ano yung impact nito sa organizational climate, no? Yung it builds credibility and intellectual respect. No? I always look up to our campus executive officer because when you get to talk with him, no, uh, you get to learn a lot, no? Para bang um, kahit simple opening remarks or inspirational message lang yan, kapag nakinig ka sa kanya, meron kang matututunan, no? So para bang the it builds that credibility, no? Parang on his part, parang it impresses upon the employees that he has the credence, no? in terms of what he says. No? Alam niya yung sinasabi niya, parang gano'n. Maalam siya. At therefore, in terms of how he is able to influence others. Di ba ganun yon? Pag yung leader natin alam na, kumbaga parang alam niya ang sinasabi niya, meron siyang influence sa mga followers. Okay? Magnetic style, ito yung mirrors transformational leadership. One that inspires, one that has charisma. No? It builds high moral and commitment. Di ba lahat gusto din natin na ang leaders natin ay transformational, no? Yung tipong gaganahan ka papasok araw-araw dahil nai-inspire ka sa mga boss na meron kayo. Ganun ba ang pakiramdam nyo pag pumapasok kayo, no? Well, they generate an emotional connection, no? Yung mahihiya ka na hindi magtrabaho, hindi gawin ng maayos yung trabaho mo dahil nakikita mo yung leader mo is also working, no? Nakikita mo na nagde-deliver din siya. At ginagawa mo yung trabaho mo hindi out of compulsion, kundi out of respect or reverence to this leader. Okay? Position style, no? Leaders derive influence from their official status and organizational position. 'Di ba? Yung mga president, yung mga chairperson, yung mga boss natin, mga unit heads, mga department heads, usually position style yan kaya tayo na-influence or kaya tayo nagfa-follow ay dahil hindi kung minsan hindi dahil nirerespeto natin yung tao kundi dahil yung posisyon. Okay? Affiliation style, leaders prioritize human connection and emotional well-being. A salute to this type of leaders also, no? They build cohesion, loyalty, and psychological safety. Meron mga tipong leaders na talagang napapadisclose kayo sa kanila, nasasabi ninyo yung mga saloobin ninyo dahil uh, parang they actually have this connection to us. And yung pakiramdam natin na kumbaga parang psychologically safe tayo sa organization. Meron naman yung mga hindi, chichismis tayo or what, no? Then we also have the coercive style. Ito yung hindi masyadong maganda, no? When we work under pressure, would you want to always work under pressure? Because the leader would always emphasize obedience and conformity. Siyempre, ayaw natin. Tactical style, yung mga strategies, mapamaraan. They adapt flexibly to changing situations or conditions, no? Ah, situational awareness. Okay, so kapag meron tayong ganitong klaseng mga leaders, kumbaga parang they always make sure that they have catch-up plans whenever our strategies fail, di ba? So, mga tipong ganun. Okay, I think that's the end of the slide. Okay, so I will be sending this anyway to your GC. I will be uploading it first to the YouTube so that it would not be that bulky. So thank you if you were able to reach this far of this video lecture. It simply means that you are motivated, you are interested to most likely understand the theories. Okay. As to the implications of these theories, that would be one thing that you will be working on with your groups because I gave that as your task one. So thank you and God bless, guys. Okay.